Belgium's counter-terror struggles underscore long-simmering concerns about national security. In our Music Makers segment, the latest music video from Rwandan pop star Teta Diana. And President Barack Obama gives the tango a whirl in Argentina. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Lenore Mundu. This is Africa 54. Vincent Makori is off today. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is meeting with European leaders in Brussels. A U.S. news report says 2 Americans were among the victims of Tuesday's terror attacks at the Belgian capital that left more than 30 people dead. An unnamed U.S. official said no names are being released as officials are still working to notify the families. In a joint appearance with Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel, Kerry said the U.S. is grieving with the people of Belgium for the loved ones who were lost in the attacks, including Americans.
The United States stands firmly behind Belgium and with the nations of Europe in the face of this tragedy. We join you in thanking the very brave first responders who rushed to the scene on a moment's notice in order to care for the wounded and to save lives. And we will continue to provide any assistance necessary in investigating these heinous acts of terrorism and bringing those responsible to justice.
Kerry noted that Islamic State militants had taken responsibility for the attacks and said there is not a government on earth that supports the group. He said a coalition of more than 60 nations will not rest until the group is eliminated from the face of the earth. While in Brussels, Kerry also met with European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker and will lay a wreath at the airport in tribute to the victims. Belgian authorities continue to search for clues to how the attacks happened, even amid heightened security and an investigation of the Brussels-based militants that attacked Paris in November. U.S. officials have told reporters that the brothers who carried out Tuesday's attacks, Ibrahim and Khalid El-Brakawi, were on the terrorism watch list in the United States. Joining us live via Skype from Brussels for more is reporter Dave Keating. Dave, tell us what is happening. There was a major operation earlier today where there were some explosions and gunfire. Tell us more.
Yes, there have been raids across the city. The most dramatic one happening in Schaerbeek, where I am right now. There were 2 explosions heard and then an exchange of gunfire, and a suspect was neutralized. We're not sure if he was killed or taken into custody. That was at a tram station just down the street. There were also arrests in the Brussels neighborhoods of Forêt and Saint-Gilles. At the same time, there have been arrests in France and also in Germany. The suspect seems to be probably connected to the Brussels attacks in France. That was in the town of Argenteuil. But the suspect in Germany that's been taken into custody, it's not sure what his connection to Brussels is. He apparently had visited the city, but on some false documents, but it's not sure whether he was involved.
So obviously the investigation is going beyond Belgium. Do we know any specifics in terms of what countries that they are investigating in, or what they are who they are looking for?
It seems just France and Germany for the moment. The mayor of Schaerbeek has actually said that the raid here is somehow connected to the Paris raid. So it's not clear right now if the Paris arrest was about a new attack, maybe even not affiliated with the attacks that took place earlier this week. So it may be that they're using this opportunity to close in on some other suspects that they've been watching for some time.
Can you describe to us the state of the city? Is there police everywhere? Are people staying in their homes? What is happening there?
Well, interestingly, it is not as severe in the city as it was after the Paris attacks. So the country has decided to lower the alert level from 4 to 3. And that's kind of the normal level here in Brussels now. After the Paris attacks, the city was on lockdown for almost a week, where people couldn't leave their apartments. The metro wasn't running. They've chosen not to do that this time. Life has pretty much gotten back to normal here. Public transportation is running again, not the metro completely, but buses and trams. So it's different than what happened in November. But of course, still, it's very tense, and there are soldiers and police all over the city. And
quickly, what are people telling you in terms of how safe they feel?
People are obviously very rattled. Again, there's been a heightened terror alert in this city for some time, so people were expecting an attack, but obviously this has left people here pretty shaken up.
Okay, Dave, thank you so much for joining us today. And that was Dave Keating reporting live via Skype from Brussels. Now, in an interview with the Middle East Broadcasting Networks, Congressman Keith Ellison of Minnesota, a Democrat and the first Muslim elected to Congress, says ISIS does not represent Islamic values.
I believe that ISIS does not represent Islamic values at all. It represents murder, killing, death, abuse of people. It only exploits Islamic identity in order to gain adherents. But as people find out quickly that there's nothing that they're doing that resembles the faith that 1.5 billion people practice every single day. So I urge people, if they're looking for answers in Quran or Hadith, the Sirah and the Sunnah, if they're looking for Islamic answers, you won't find them amongst ISIS. It's best to study, engage people, and to look for solutions to problems that involve real working together, peaceful solutions, and things like that.
Congressman Keith Ellison of Minnesota is a Democrat and the first Muslim elected to Congress. The scramble by Belgium's security agencies following the Brussels terror attacks is putting the country's counter-terrorism apparatus under an intense scrutiny, with criticism pouring in from around the world. VOA national security correspondent Jeff Selden has more.
With an urgent manhunt underway for suspects in the Brussels terror attacks, pressure on Belgium reached a new high. The country's interior minister offering to resign.
If you put everything in a row, then you can say that you can indeed ask big questions in a number of areas about the Justice Department and the developments afterwards, and also about the police.
Criticism has come in from all over, with Turkey's president saying at least one of the suicide bombers should have been on Belgium's radar.
We informed the Belgian embassy with a note about the deportation on July 14th. The Belgians released him.
Some U.S. officials have also been critical, but what has them especially worried is that shortfalls in Belgium and other European countries are not new, many of them dating back to the terror attacks in Madrid and London in 2004 and 2005.
We need to speed up some of the proposals we've put on the table to find the money to make sure that terrorists can't use credit cards or prepaid cards, to make sure that we track where the weapons are.
There is hope a new European counterterrorism center will help. Still, many current and former counterterror officials say a wake-up call is long overdue.
Not many of our European friends have their game at the level we have it at when it comes to sharing information.
There's also concern about empowering Europe's security agencies, making sure they have the legal and technological reach to get critical intelligence in a timely fashion.
Now I predict it's going to create great stress within Europe as these various nations begin to realize that they may have to recalibrate this necessary balance between their citizens' privacy and their right to life.
As one U.S. official puts it, the Islamic State terror group's lighting a match, forcing security agencies to race against the flames. Jeff Selden, VOA News, Washington.
A Republic of Congo Army general is calling for a campaign of, quote, civil disobedience to reject official results or showing that President Denis Sassou Nguesso has won re-election. Congo's Interior Minister announced in Brazzaville Thursday that Sassou Nguesso won more than 60% of the vote in Sunday's election, making a runoff vote unnecessary. The election followed a voter referendum last October that removed age and term limits and that would have prevented the 72-year-old Sassou Nguesso from seeking re-election. Critics of the poll accused the president of a constitutional coup. We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Find me on Twitter at Linor Mudu. Coming up, the latest from Rwandan pop star Teta Diana. Stay with us.
What's new? Nike's laceless athletic shoes with the awkward name Hyper Adapt 1.0. Nike says the new shoe is powered by an underfoot lacing mechanism. Think tiny motor that runs on a battery that needs charging every couple of weeks. When your heel hits a sensor in the bottom of the shoe, the laces tighten. You manually control the fit by pressing a plus or minus button on the top of the shoe. Nike claims the shoe will provide precise, consistent, personalized lockdown for the wearer, adding that the fit can be manually adjusted on the go. The new shoes won't be available until later this year, and the company says the Hyper Adapt 1.0 will be sold only to members of the company's Nike Plus app service, which gets decidedly mixed reviews. Just Google it. For VOA's What's New, I'm Todd Grossans.
Welcome back. It's time for our Music Maker segment, and today we're featuring Rwandan pop star Teta Diana. Here to tell us more is the host of VOA's Music Time in Africa radio program, Heather Maxwell. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Lenore.
So Teta Diana, she's like the hottest thing in Rwanda right now.
She really is, and she's really a beautiful, young, bright, shining star. Mm-hmm. She was here at VOA just a couple of days ago because she was giving a concert in Washington for the Women's Convention that was organized by the U.S. Rwandan diaspora. Yeah. So she came to the studios and talked with me and explained some of her music and her young career. She's only been doing music for like 2 or 3 years, and she's at the top.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So this music video we're going to see is her latest one. It's only 2 months old. Okay. It's called Velo. Now, being a Francophone, and me too, I thought, and I asked her, I said, is it about a bicycle? And she was like, no. It's love spelt in a funny way.
Oh,
and
interesting.
It's her statement that love in Rwanda now is mixed up. It's not in order.
Okay, let's look at Velo, love in disorder. Yeah. Let's take a look.
Abahungu bakunda abakobwa, abakobwa bakunda abahungu, ngo nanjye nakunze agahungu, agahungu gafite imitoma, karaza ngo gafite urukundo, urukundo nazabona ahandi, ngo kandi gafite umutungo, umutungo uzadutunga twembi iyo ndacururuka, ibiciro ndabimanura, dusezerana no kubana, inkono zirabura ndagakatira. Velo, 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 oh my dear, velo, oh narumia, velo, 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 urambabaje. Nondebe ngo ncire urubanza, isi dutuye singira ikibanza, dore uranyizeza ibitangaza kandi urandangaza. Velo, oh, money, oh, velo, oh, sorry, oh, love no good is love no mood, love no mood is love to lose. urambabaje velo 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 urambabaje sakwe 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 velo sakwe 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 velo nagutera icyo utazi utabonye nagutera icyo utazi utabonye urukundo rw'ubu ruzira kashi yeah. Velo 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 oh my dear velo oh narumia velo 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 urambabaje velo 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 urambabaje velo 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 urambabaje.
Wow, this is lovely.
Isn't it?
Very lovely bit. It's terrible that she's talking about love that is upside down, but the music, the song is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Beautiful.
Well, what she's saying about love is that she's noticing in Rwandan society today that it's all based on materialistic things that can disappear, that can be consumed, and then it's gone. And she's trying to say, you know, let's get back to the real love and long-lasting love.
Yes.
But you're right, that beat is really relaxing.
It's relaxing, but listen, love, the way she describes it,
Yeah.
it's not just in Rwandan society, okay?
That's true.
Some people will argue that it's a global phenomenon.
I agree.
So tell us about the type of rhythm. How would you describe this rhythm?
That is kind of more like a zouk, pop zouk style.
A bit Caribbean.
A bit Caribbean, yeah.
Okay.
But she's done 11 singles, and they're all a little different. They have different beats, but she said that she's working on an album, her first, in fact, album. And it's going to be a concept album. And what she wants to do with this a little differently in the album is to really utilize some traditional instruments and rhythms. And she talks about one from northern Rwanda that's called Ichinamba, which is a really upbeat, fast, almost kind of like a Niger dance beat, but it's traditional. So she's really excited to present this new album with a mix of pop and traditional Rwandan stuff.
It's great to see like a young woman like that will delve into her traditional culture and blend that with modern rhythm. So quickly, what would you tell us about Diana looking forward in terms of her career?
She is just on the way up. So the album is going to be awesome. And she's going to have more music videos coming out probably in the next couple of months. And
Heather, thank you so much. That was fantastic.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And that was Heather Maxwell. To learn more about Heather and her VOA radio show, visit Facebook and type in the keywords Music Time in Africa. And you can see what time her program can be heard on your area and get more information about some of her featured artists. The South by Southwest extravaganza taking place in Austin, Texas this week began in 1987 as a local music festival with only 700 participants, mainly from the region, but today it is the world's largest music festival of its kind with more than 2,000 performers and nearly 30,000 people attending. How about that? As VOA's Greg Flaccus reports from Austin, bands from around the world come to the Texas capital city every March seeking to be discovered or to expand their audience.
At South by Southwest, you can still hear some of the local sound, blending elements of country with rock and other Texas flavors.
We still enjoy our culture, and whether that's Tejano music or country music or whatever that culture is, I think we're trying to embrace all of it.
The diversity of Austin's musical scene was on display at the Austin Music Awards program, held in conjunction with South by Southwest, where new Austin resident Robert Plant, formerly of the British rock group Led Zeppelin, went on stage with such Texas legends as blues guitarist Jimmy Vaughan. But international groups playing at South by Southwest provide a different flavor. Austinites like Susan Peterson attend mainly to hear international groups like Lula Cruza.
I spent about 4 years in West Africa in my 20s, and so Latin beats and African beats really appeal to me. It's music that feels kind of like home to me, but it's also I love seeing the traditions of other places.
Lula Cruz's lead singer, Alejandra Ortiz, is from Argentina. Her bandmates are from Colombia. Together, they explore both the nature and cultures of the Andean region.
We've done like a lot of deep listening and research in how the sound of an environment creates the music that then becomes part of a culture.
One foreign group that delighted many fans is Chirkut from Bangladesh. Singer Shumi says the band members incorporate traditional music with elements of rock.
We do what we love to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe that's the thing. And we are very happy that from Bangladesh, for the first time, any band can perform at South by Southwest.
Chirkut's eclectic approach even includes a banjo. In other songs, the guitarist draws on years of listening to Jimi Hendrix as well as other rock musicians.
There are also bands from Europe, Taiwan, South Korea, Australia, and Mexico performing this year, adding to the diversity of sounds at South by Southwest 2016. Greg Flakus, VOA News, Austin, Texas.
It's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54, Barack Obama hits the dance floor in Argentina. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. In Ethiopia, the government and aid agencies appeal for a $1.4 billion in international donations. In Zimbabwe, drought-stricken capital Harare receives shipments of bottled water to replace increasingly undrinkable fresh water ruined by drought conditions. In Cameroon, the People's Democratic Movement celebrates 31st anniversary by calling for President Paul Biya to run for president in 2018. In Nigeria, rangers work hard to foil poachers and save Nigeria's last elephants in the Yankari National Park. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here is what's trending. President Barack Obama showed off his dance moves by taking to the floor with a celebrated Argentine tango dancer. It was part of an official state dinner for Obama and wife Michelle, hosted by President Mauricio Macri. Obama was invited onto the floor by the glamorous tango dancer Maura Gaudoy. First Lady Michelle Obama was not left out. She was led through the steps by a male tango dancer. Obama said earlier in the day his visit to Argentina marked a new beginning for Argentine-U.S. relations. The tango is Argentina's national dance. How about this move? Next up, you never know what will be the next big story on social media. Get this. Equipped with snacks and warm clothing, an agitated man climbed an 80-foot sequoia tree in downtown Seattle in the western state of Washington and defied efforts to bring him down for more than 24 hours before finally descending. The episode became a local and national spectacle thanks in part to a live video feed by a local news station. A crowd cheered as the unidentified man finally returned to the ground and ate food that had been left for him before he was loaded onto a gurney and into an ambulance. The odd episode generated the hashtag #ManInTree that trended heavily on Twitter and Facebook. And finally, a designer who has set clothing trends for decades, Giorgio Armani, has announced he will no longer use animal fur in any of his products. Armani said in a statement that the decision reflected his luxury group's attention to the critical issues of protecting and caring for the environment and animals. Starting with the fall-winter 2016 season, there will be no fur in any collections produced by the entire Armani group. Stella McCartney, Hugo Boss, Tommy Hilfiger, and Calvin Klein have also committed to going fur-free. And that's what's trending today. Now, advertising is practically inescapable these days, pervading our daily lives, our mobile devices, and now even virtual worlds. As reporter Tina Trin explains, a growing number of marketers care less about whether the reality is physical or computer-generated, as long as they have your attention.
If you've never had the chance to hike the Dolomite Mountains of Italy, now you can. Well, at least virtually. With the growing number of virtual reality apps and headsets coming to market, opportunities to experience these worlds are more readily available. But with that comes the potential to experience more advertising.
Augmented reality and virtual reality are expected to hit $150 billion in revenue by 2020, so it is an expanding industry. That number is going to catch the eye of marketers.
For brands, that means creating experiences that work alongside their own products, like Merrell's virtual reality mountain hike for the launch of their new hiking boots.
It really puts you in the space of what it's like to wear the shoes and be in one of these really crazy environments.
German airline Lufthansa also took viewers to new heights with their VR app, immersing them in a first-class business cabin complete with flight attendants and champagne service.
So up until now, the most powerful medium on the planet, or most immersive medium, was a giant screen cinema or an IMAX type of theater. Virtual reality is more immersive than that. So for an advertiser to be able to connect with their audiences in VR is a very powerful, in some ways emotional sometimes, response you get.
DJ Roller co-founded NextVR, a technology company that partners with brands like Fox Sports to transform their live events to virtual reality. With a captive audience already built in, Roller sees advertising as a natural extension of the platform.
We're able to erase and replace things very easily.
That means a virtual reality viewer in Asia could see a more relevant ad during that Coldplay concert than, say, a viewer in the US. While it's not clear how effective these VR campaigns are, one thing's for sure, they still cost money.
It is quite expensive for the marketer and for the agency to create this experience. The other challenge is, making sure that what you're doing really stays true to your brand and you're not just experimenting with virtual reality just to do it.
But for the digital natives that make up today's youth, virtual reality might be as normal as chicken McNuggets.
Remove the lens pack and unfold the box completely.
In Sweden, participating McDonald's restaurants have begun serving Happy Meals in boxes that convert to basic virtual reality viewers. For digitally savvy brands, virtual reality is one more way to reach the highly coveted millennial demographic.
Millennials are willing to spend a lot of money on experiences. Virtual reality is a way for a marketer to give a millennial an experience that they might not have otherwise.
An out-of-this-world experience that marketers hope will result in real-world spending. Tina Trin, VOA News, New York.
That's our show for today. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Welcome to English in a Minute. When you listen to American English, you will probably hear this idiom.
Sleep like a rock.
How does a rock sleep? Let's listen.
I remember you said you were getting a new bed last weekend. How do you like it?
I love it. My old bed totally bit the dust. But the new mattress is great. I slept like a rock last night.
That's good to know. I have not been sleeping well at all lately. Maybe I should think about getting a different mattress too.
If you slept like a rock, you slept very well. You can't wake a rock because it's not alive. You can also say you slept like a log to mean the same thing. And that's English in a Minute.